So there we were, packed into the minivan at the crack of dawn, ready for our annual family road trip. My dad, a tech enthusiast in denial about his age, was adamant about using a new, trendy GPS app he'd read about in some obscure corner of the internet. "Trust me, it's got the best scenic routes," he proclaimed with the confidence of a man who once got us lost in our own neighborhood. The first couple of stops were charming enough, an old-fashioned diner with the best milkshakes I'd ever had and a small-town museum dedicated to the history of corn. But then the app guided us to a historic landmark that turned out to be a mailbox shaped like a giant fish. We were intrigued, but mostly just bewildered. As we got back on the road, the app took us on a detour to a place called the world's largest ball of yarn. It was indeed large, but we couldn't figure out why it was in the middle of a field with a sign that said, "Do not unravel." Dad was unfazed, eagerly snapping photos and insisting we all stand in front of it for a family picture. We were starting to wonder if the app had a vendetta against us, but Dad was having the time of his life, completely oblivious to our growing skepticism. It was around this time that my sister whispered, "Next stop, the Twilight Zone." The real kicker came when the GPS chirped up with, "Turn right in 500 feet to explore a local tradition." We ended up at a cow auction in a town so small it didn't have a name, just a number. Before we knew it, we were swept into the excitement of the auctioneer's rapid-fire calls, with Dad enthusiastically waving his hand to bid on what he thought was a participation fee. Turns out, he was actually bidding to sell something, but none of us could quite figure out what until the auctioneer pointed at our minivan and yelled, "Sold." As we watched our family car being driven away by a farmer with a grin as wide as the horizon, we stood there in shock. My little brother, ever the opportunist, piped up, "Well, at least we won't have to worry about parking anymore." But Dad, still clutching his phone, just shrugged and said, "Guess we'll have to hoof it from here."